So today's talk is May the force be with you. I wasn't able to get my outfit together fast enough. So we've been learning that thoughts create our reality, and that we alone have the power to design our lives. There's only one little catch. We don't fully believe it. Because we're still operating from the thinking of our ancestors. We're recycling old tapes, old beliefs that we've picked up from the others, and most of those thoughts we have picked up before we were 5 years old, before we even knew any better. And because we picked them up so early, we think those thoughts are our own. We thought them up. Neuroscientists tell us that 95% of our thoughts, listen to this, are controlled by our pre-programmed subconscious mind. So what we're thinking is we're actually looking at movies of the past, and we're watching them over and over again. That's how old these thoughts are that we have. So we've all heard the saying, right? Change your thinking, change your life. We've heard it. Well, you know what? What did you just hear right now? Change your thinking, change your life. And what a great age to hear that at, right? How old are you? 11. What a great... I didn't hear that when I was 11. Did anyone else? No. You're in the right place. And Nikolai back there, too. Yes. So, and Kayla, and Lizzie. It's kind of nice to have the youth in here, isn't it? I like that. So what it's saying is we have the power to rewrite outdated thinking. That power is in each of us to get rid of these disempowering programming thoughts of our ancestors. From the beginning of time, humankind has worshipped an all-powerful, everywhere presence. And it's been called many names. Allah, Jehovah, Shiva, Brahma, Yahweh, Great Spirit, Higher Power, the Force. We call it God. There are 900 plus names for this higher power. Quantum physics defines this power as, listen to this, invisible moving forces that influence the physical realm. That's a description of what we call God, or any of these other names. Invisible moving forces that influence the physical realm. It's a field of unlimited potentiality, and it lies just beyond this material world, beyond matter, beyond shape, beyond form. It saturates our reality. Remember when we talked about how easy it is to have our cell phone and trust that we're going to connect, and we connect to those ways we connect? It saturates us. It fills the cosmos. We can't touch it. We can't see it. And trying to define it is almost impossible, isn't it? And up until now, we've had to take it on faith. But not anymore. So the next several Sundays, my talks are going to be based on this book, and it's called E Square. And we have them in the bookstore. I told Robert to get them ahead of time because I knew you'd want them. I went to a minister's gathering back in last December, and they were all talking about this book, and I got it. And it was sitting there until I was guided to bring it to you. And so now is the time. So each Sunday, at the end of the talk, you're going to be given an experiment to do during the week to prove to yourself that this field, that this force, that this loving, abundant, everywhere presence we call God is available to you, is alive, and is at work in your life. Like electricity, it's dependable, it's predictable, and it's available to everyone. But like electricity, you have to plug it in to connect to it. It depends on how much of you plug in, Ray. And when we're plugged into it, hear this, when we are plugged into it, we can transform it into anything we desire. Change your thinking, change your life. To plug into it, we have to first disempower the programming of limited thoughts, the beliefs, the myths that we've inherited from our ancestors. I'm going to go through 5 of those beliefs. And the first one is that what we call God, this invisible moving force, is a him or a her. Now, if you think about it, what are we talking about? An invisible moving forces, energy. So how can we call it a him or a her? More appropriate pronoun would be it. Take a breath, as Reverend Therese would say. Take a breath. We're stepping beyond. Expand. It's time. Let's get out of the box of limiting our God. We take that word away because that word has the beliefs and myths of our ancestors, doesn't it? So it's not a him or a her, it's an it. So what we call God is more like the Force in Star Wars. The theme is going. An energy that dwells within and around us. And it's why the Star Wars story is so popular. Because it speaks to us at a deep gut level. We already know this. We know it. But we've got those old tapes playing in there. The second myth, that God is watching us. That God is like Santa Claus, waiting to see if we're naughty or nice. Judging our every move, demanding certain behavior, punishing us if we don't follow this rule or obey that commandment. If it's an invisible moving energy force, it just is, right? And we're in it. And our thoughts in it create our life. The third myth is that God has favorites. I've been good, so my prayers are going to be answered. Yours aren't. You weren't so good. This energy, I'm glad you're all listening. So this energy doesn't play favorites. It just is. Answered prayer, abundant good, is equally available to everyone. It's not a gift bestowed on certain people because they're nicer. Electricity doesn't care who plugs in the toaster, does it? The fourth myth is we're not supposed to ask for too much. Poor little me, I can't ask for too much. We don't use this unlimited, infinite source of energy enough. Silent Unity is a 24-hour prayer service out at Unity Village. You can call in anytime. It's available all over the world. I can't tell you how many people have said to me, well, how often can I call in? You can call in every day. You can call in 5 or 6 times a day. And you know what? There's people out there that do. Use it. Use this force. You can take an eyedropper to the ocean. You can take a cup to the ocean. You can take a bucket to the ocean. The ocean doesn't care, does it? This energy doesn't care. And the fifth myth, the last one, is we have to earn our way to heaven. I grew up with that one. That suffering is rewarded. That we get brownie points for sacrifice. In Luke 17:21, Jesus said, "Nor will people say, 'Here it is,' or 'There it is,' because the kingdom of God is in your midst." You don't have to wait for heaven. Heaven is right here, right now, when we change our thinking. God isn't static. This energy isn't static any more than electricity is static. Jesus tried to get this through our heads over 2,000 years ago. Duh. During his ministry, he taught it, he demonstrated it over and over again that God is within you, that we are part of it. But instead, humankind forgot the teachings and created an idol to worship. To worship Jesus is kind of like worshiping Benjamin Franklin because he discovered electricity. Franklin didn't discover electricity for us to build temples to him or paint pictures of him or erect statues of him. He discovered a principle for the world to use. A principle for the world to use. And if we hadn't, the way we did with Jesus, the principles Jesus taught, we'd all be sitting here in the dark, wouldn't we? Electricity has always been available. We didn't realize it. We didn't know how to access it. The spiritual principles that Jesus demonstrated have always been available. He simply showed us the way to use them. Read the New Testament. It's all there. Nowhere in the Bible does Jesus say, "Worship me." Nowhere in the Bible does Jesus say, "Worship me." He says, "Follow me." That's a big difference. In unity, we call Jesus our teacher, our way shower. That his teachings, by studying them, we have a clearer way of what to do in our lives, how to live our lives. He was saying to us, here, look what's possible. Here's what human beings are capable of doing. In John 14:12, he said, "The one who believes in me will also do the works that I do, and in fact will do greater works than these." That's where we don't fully believe. That's where I don't fully believe. How can I do these things? But he did them, and it's possible for us to do them, to work with this force. So we've spent over 2,000 years worshiping the man instead of applying these powerful principles. A few weeks ago, I talked about religion being trapped in its past. What the rules and the dogma of religion do is they dilute the power of truth that they were built on. That we get so caught up in the rules and the regulations of being a good person so we can go to heaven that we don't dig enough underneath for the power of the truth. We get caught up in religious symbols and we lose that truth beneath them. Revelations 3:8 says, "Behold, I put before you an open door which no one can shut." Revelations can be read two different ways, and one of the ways you read it has a lot of fear in it. But Revelation is a book of symbols. And John wrote it when he was imprisoned in an island to send encoded messages back to the mainland. So, it's time for us to decode the symbols, to start living the truth beneath them. We stand on a threshold of that door that John wrote about. And it's been open for 2,000 years, and we're still standing on the threshold. It's time to step through into the force, into the field of unlimited possibilities and potentiality. So this week, you're going to prove that this field, and call it God if it makes you feel more comfortable. It doesn't matter what you call it, but start using it. Those of you that are willing, you're going to devote 48 hours, 2 days. Now, you don't have to sit down and do anything. You have to be aware. Because for 48 hours, you're going to be looking for evidence that this all-knowing, all-perfect field of potentiality exists. You're going to be looking for proof that God exists. Yeah, Susie. Big one, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah. Now, for it to work, if you decide to do this, for it to work, you have to get deep down in your bones that this is a bountiful universe, that there is no lack, that everything is available to you. If you're wishy-washy, if you're wimpy or vague, if you're doubtful that you deserve it, those thought waves are going to send a signal into the energy field, and they will affect the vibration of what comes to you. Leslie talked last week. Thoughts become things. So for 48 hours, you're going to be watching your thinking. You're going to be watching your thoughts. I know we got a lot of skeptics out here, but set it aside for a while. You don't have to do it forever. Just do it for 48 hours. And expect proof with your whole heart that you are going to receive an unexpected gift. Now, it can be something as simple as a phone call or a card from a friend out of the blue. It could be something great like a raise or a check in the mail. I did this week for 48 hours. And I received not one in 48 hours, but 4 blessings. 4 unexpected blessings. I'm going to share them with you. I had to go have my blood drawn. And as I went to the place I usually went, you do all the stuff, you sit and you wait. There was a family in there. And there was a mom with 4 children. One was, looked like a boy with Down syndrome. He was probably 6. The other 2 were girls, maybe 8 and 9. They were Asian. And then there was an older brother who was on the phone talking to work, and he had some type of a handicap. They all seemed to have some type of handicaps. I looked at the mom. She didn't look like their natural mother. So my thought was, this woman has brought these children into her life. And as I watched them, they were so loving. They were so comfortable with each other. You could tell they were so loved and so cared for, even though they all had some type of a physical problem. They called my name. I went in to have my blood drawn, and I was told, we can't do this panel here. You'll have to go to the other place. And I got it. This was my blessing. I got to be with this family. I would not have been there. So then I got in my car to go to the other place. I'm going to get it done. I'm fasting. I want to get this blood done today. The other place is a very busy place. And I again went through all the waiting and got back into the room. And because they were so busy, the 22-year-old technician who would have drawn my blood had stepped out of the room. And instead, the veteran tech, who just kind of bosses everybody around, stepped in to take my blood. I had to have 14 vials taken. And during that time, my vein collapsed. And this vet, she just wiggled it. I never felt anything. She got the job done. It was so easy. Blessing number 2. Because I was aware. I was aware. Instead of sitting there complaining about all the things that went wrong, I got to see the blessing and everything that was going right. Now, the third one is a money one. So I've been wanting this cooler to keep in the trunk of my car, non wheels, and I've been pricing them all summer long. And I was early for an appointment, so I went into a CVS store that was near there, and they had one cooler, and it was 50%. It looked like it was 50% off, so I took it up. And they said, oh, no, it's blah, blah, blah. And I went, okay, I don't want it. Well, I'll give you 25% off. I went, no, that's okay. And they fiddled and said, how about 50% off? Blessing number 3. Fourth one. Fourth one was my most powerful one. And it was a very profound spiritual experience that happened very unexpectedly. If you want to talk to me about it in private, I'd be happy to share it with you. But 4 blessings in 48 hours by changing what I was looking for. Getting out of this book talks about a woman, she's waiting for a bus and she's struggling with 3 bags, and all the time she is moaning and groaning and complaining, and where is that bus, and when's it ever going to get here? The bus was right in front of her. But she was so caught up in her complaining that she didn't see it. That's what we do. That's what I can do. Get so caught up in what's wrong with everything. I don't see the abundance all around me. So, this week, 2 days, 48 hours. Pick a time. Write it on a piece of paper. Write the time, the date. Don't be specific. That's going to come further down. All you're going to do is ask for a blessing, an unexpected gift to be shown to you. And then you're going to let go and watch. So for 2 days, you're walking around really paying attention. And I had to catch myself because I forgot. And I went, oh, wait a minute, I'm supposed to be paying attention. There is a field of infinite possibilities waiting for you to claim it. Wherever you feel lack, there is none. There is abundance. So this week, may the force be with you.